welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where two bearded film fans watch the 50 best horror movies ever, and then we talk about them. My name is Luke Condor with Kate, and I'm joined by my regular co-host Ben Errington. I'm just going to continue that. I couldn't do the stutter and then stop.
No, Ben Errington.
Ben Errington. Why did I say that? Oh, it's probably because Stuttering Bill from It.
Stuttering Bill. Yeah. Denborough.
Okay, so we normally do the 50 best horror movies ever. Today we are talking about a new film. It's an honorary mention, I suppose. It's the new remake of It. But before that... IT, Information Technology. Before that, I watched... what did I watch today? I watched In the Mouth of Madness, which I've never seen before. Have you seen that?
Is this the one you told me about with Sam Neill?
Yeah, so it's the third of...
it's John Carpenter.
Yeah, so John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy. So you've got It, you've got Prince of Darkness, which is like Satan is like this green goo, and then you've got In the Mouth of Madness, which is like a Lovecraftian. So I was going to say, In the Mouth of Madness is a film. You know, we did the Void review.
Yeah,
and we were like, I don't really feel like it's a proper Lovecraft story. In the Mouth of Madness is a proper Lovecraft story. Like it's so Lovecraftian. But it's unbelievable. It's one of those films like I had to watch it in two parts because I was super tired last night when I was watching it, and I watched the rest at lunchtime. But I think you would love it, man. It's the kind of film that like we of our generation would watch with our friends stupidly late at night and just wonder what the hell is going on. It's got lots of like tentacles and.
What was it like mid-90s, right?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'd say a bit earlier, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I'll give it. I'll add it to the list. Luke Condor.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Have you seen any other horror stuff this week? Past week?
I watched recently It Comes at Night, the film directed by somebody forgotten. Sorry, with Joe Edgerton. Sort of weird. It sort of looks a lot. From the trailer, looks a little bit like The Last of Us. People hold up in a house. There's some sort of threat outside. What is it?
It's post horror, right? They're calling it.
Post horror?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it, but
I didn't know that. It was all right, you know.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Okay, good.
I think the trailer was kind of like, this is another one of those trailers which you think it's going to be something, it's not, and then when you start watching it, you're a bit like, well, you know what I mean? A bit probably not very satisfying in terms of conclusion.
I'm expecting, can you hear my dog, Alaska, by the way?
I sure can.
I've no idea where she is, what she's barking at. But, okay, so...
Could be Killer Clowns?
It's Pennywise, yeah. So what was I going to say? So It Comes at Night. Yeah, so the trailer I saw made me very excited. It made me think it's going to be like 10 Cloverfield Lane, like a very sort of small story, but then there'd be a reveal and there's some sort of big thing happening outside. I'm guessing from your expression there isn't. There's no big thing happening.
I don't want to ruin it for you, mate. I think it's definitely worth a watch. So I will not say a word. What we should say is that there are going to be spoilers for it in this episode.
Yes, very spoiler heavy. I'm going to try not to spoil too much of the book that's not in the film because you haven't read all of the book, right?
No. So I wanted to read the book before this film came out, but obviously it's pretty massive. 1,300 and something pages.
Yeah.
I'm about 500 pages in.
Yeah.
But I have seen the miniseries, and I do know quite a lot about the book. Like, I think I've just read about it, and there's lots of things perhaps that I do know about stuff that.
Well, you've read the Dark Tower series, and I know there's stuff in that links to this that I don't know. So
yeah,
and I don't
yeah.
Okay, but
course,
I don't know this. I don't know the miniseries either. I never watched it. I have no Tim Curry nostalgia other than from Home Alone 2. I love you.
I love you.
The TV show. I never really watched it. I think I maybe caught a couple of scenes when my parents were watching it when I was really young, but I never watched it. So
obviously, the 90s miniseries has got the adult half as well.
Yeah,
sort of like interweaved into the story. I don't remember it massively well, but I remember seeing like the conclusion and sort of. Obviously, Tim Curry was great. There was a lot of great scenes. A lot of the actors were a little bit naff.
So as part of the I was trying to find some trivia questions for this, and then so I Google around. I go Google for It trivia just to get some basic questions down. and one of them was like, "Did you know Tim Curry was also in Rocky Horror Picture Show?" So, I know.
That's a great bit of trivia. That is.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I'll give you the answer to that one now. Oh well.
Oh, 1-0 already.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, it's doing very well. It's like the highest grossing horror film or something. It's #1 film in the world.
It's become like a mega blockbuster, which I think no one really. I didn't anticipate it being like that. I didn't anticipate so many people going to see it and so many people seemingly loving it. Because I don't know, it's an odd one. I mean, I'm really happy it is because it's one of Stephen King's greatest works, and now suddenly it's in the public domain even more so than it was as sort of like a mainstream awesome thing. And it's great.
Well, I think it is. So I mean, Stephen King's got a lot of things out this year, but Dark Tower didn't do so well, so it's not his name.
That kind of bombed. So I think it's off the back of the Stranger Things success. We're gonna have to discuss that.
Okay.
Because that in terms of nostalgia, in terms of 80s, in terms of horror, that opened a lot of doors for people. A lot of people saw that, and a lot of people loved it. Again, another thing before it came out, I didn't anticipate it having such as big an impact as it did.
Yeah.
So I think that's obviously bled into this. People love, a lot of people do love these horror films. I think from the way it was marketed, people are going to look at it just as, there's a killer clown roaming about. Yeah. I'll go and get me some of that, because obviously stuff like Annabelle, The Conjuring, whatever weird ghostly things. I mean, they always do well. They always seem to make a bit of buck.
Yeah.
And so it's a combination of that. So you've probably got two different demographics of people who are going to go and see it.
Yeah.
The people who enjoy horror and the people who enjoy Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the people who know and love the book or the story or just Stephen King in general. I think people could tell that it was different from your standard horror schlock.
That trailer came out and the trailer went viral. The trailer was very scary, as trailers go. I don't think the film was as scary as the trailer sort of led on. I wasn't that bothered about it. I mean, I would have liked to have had a bit more bite to it.
I kind of felt like it was scary enough. It was as scary as it needed to be for the way they told the story, which I think was one of the best paced films for a film that's like 2 hours long. It was paced like impeccably. Like I just thought there was loads of times where I just kept thinking, I really like the way we get some scary stuff, then we get some stuff of the kids, and then we get the scary. It didn't. Occasionally, maybe once or twice, it felt like it was going from scare to scare to scare. But that maybe happened only twice. After that, it kind of felt like you were given enough time to mull it over, to sort of think about
So the film starts with like the really famous scene of Georgie going to the cellar. Not the cellar. After he goes to the cellar, he goes to like the storm drain. He looks and Pennywise is there looking up at him. And then when that happened, like it was gorier than I thought it was going to be. And there was a girl behind me, and I heard her go, "Oh God, no!" And like, I could like see her turning away from the screen. Like, I think she realised then that it was going to be too scary for her. So like, for some people, it was pretty terrifying. I felt like it was more like "Are You Afraid of the Dark?" Which I mean, is still pretty terrifying in some ways.
I think it's because there's loads of kids. I think if it was there were more adults involved, then it probably would have felt a lot scarier than it was. Because there were a lot of kids involved, it did feel a little bit Are You Afraid of the Dark? Maybe a little bit goosebumpsy. Yeah. Goosebumpsy, that's a good word, isn't it?
Yeah.
At times. Shall I just, obviously for people who are not familiar with this, for whatever reason, I don't know why you wouldn't be, but I'll just read a brief synopsis just so.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the film tells the story of 7 children in Derry, Maine, who are terrorized by a being known as Pennywise the Clown, only to face their own personal demons in the process. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so go on.
That's all we need, isn't it?
That's all we need. So on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got 86% fresh. Their critic consensus is well acted and fiendishly frightening with an emotionally affecting story at its core. It amplifies the horror in Stephen King's classic story without losing your touch with its heart. I don't know if that's particularly true. I don't know. It's got 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb, which should even out to a nice 7.5 over the next
Yeah.
Needs to normalise over the next years. Yeah.
The hype needs to die down. People need to realise it's actually a pile of shit.
So I asked the guys in the Facebook group. Tommy Draper said he loved it. Didn't scare me like the old film did, but I'm not as easy to scare. I thought the film was cracking though. Skarsgård was a great Pennywise. He had big shoes to fill. Edward Harvey said, I love the 80s kid adventure vibe going on that reminded me of the films I loved growing up, like Goonies, E.T., Lost Boys, etc. We haven't seen that in films for a long time. I suppose it wouldn't be back if it wasn't for Stranger Things. Like Tommy, I wasn't actually frightened by any of it. It just had some creepy moments. One of my favourites was the abstract painting man. And then Andy Conduit Turner, regular guest on the show, really enjoyed it. Cast was great. The update to the 80s suited it well. And as much as I love a bit of Curry, the new Pennywise, Tim Curry, the new Pennywise is incredibly creepy.
He just loves a bit of curry, that's it. He just loves a korma.
For me, an excellent update to an old favourite. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people saying it's not too scary, but I think if you added some more jump scares or whatever creepy bits, it would have felt like too much. There were two guys in the screening that I was in who were like the classic, I find it funny more than I find it scary kind of bloke.
Yeah, so laugh,
belly laughing, at bits where like you're like, okay, right, you might not find it scary, but it's not funny.
Yeah,
you know, and they were belly laughing, and I think they were even nudging each other, going, "Oh, it's funny, isn't it? It's funny." It's just like, for God's sake,
you know, like they're the kind of guys who are like, it's all like a show, so they're like going, "This is amazing, so funny. I'm bigger than this," and then like when they look away from each other, they go,
"Oh fuck it up!" They got to walk
Jesus Christ
for a quiet alley, and they're just like, "Oh no!" Yeah, but I think if you don't find it scary, just shut up.
Yeah.
If you find it funny, then it's not funny, is it?
There's a guy in my screening who found it scary, but out of sync for everyone else. So like, there'd be like a jump bit, and then it would go to like quite a funny, just like a normal bit with the losers club talking to each other, and they go, "Ah! Ah!"
Oh God! How?
I actually don't know what was happening there. I think he left like halfway through.
Something quite creepy happened in my screen where it was about halfway through the film, and suddenly this old man like just came into the screen, and he was walking up the stairs really slowly, like it was a packed out screen, slowly, and I was on the edge of the aisle, and I was looking at him coming towards me, and as he got like towards me, he kind of looked at me, and then looked at a few people around. He went, "Oh, I'm in the wrong one." He's in the wrong screening. Everyone laughed around him. I felt really bad for him.
Oh.
It was pretty terrifying.
That'd be super creepy if he was like a Pennywise sort of prop or something.
No, and when I left, he was like outside, still looking lost.
Oh, bless him.
I don't think he found his screen. I think he was waiting for his wife outside.
He's in the wrong building. I'm in the wrong one.
Oh, I'm in the wrong building. Yeah. Supposed to be in bingo next door.
Yeah. So it's good. So I guess maybe let's jump a little bit into like the film itself. I mean, the Losers Club. So everyone that I saw talking about this film has all mentioned like how good the Losers Club were, like how lovable they were.
Yeah, lovable chubby cheeks, lovable rogues.
Yeah,
I think they were great. I think a few of them sort of faded into the background, like as the film went on. Yeah. In particularly, Ben. And now Ben is the man.
It's weird, isn't it? That
he really faded into the background. We lost him after, you know what I mean? After after some of the bully scenes, he kind of just didn't have much else to say or do, which is weird because he is my favourite character in the books. Like, exactly. He was my favourite character in as the kids were being introduced. He was my favourite when he's with all the New Kids on the Block stuff.
Yeah,
it's great. But I think in terms of acting, probably the best kid was Eddie for me. He just had the most expressive face.
Yeah.
I've ever seen, in a child actor, just like pure horror, like on his face, and the anger and confusion every time. Like he was just amazing. I mean, obviously Finn Wolfhard, who played Richie, he's getting a lot of plaudits, and I think he was good, but I think he was working with a pretty good script.
Yeah.
Their dialogue for me was
Eddie shouting that his pillows are gazebos. I howled.
Yeah.
The screen.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, everything with Eddie. I mean, in the book, to be fair, as I said, I've only read about half.
Yeah.
Eddie's not someone I gravitate towards very much. But
I didn't even. So Eddie, I thought when I was reading the book for about 600 pages, I just thought Eddie was like a sort of less funny, less characterized version of Richie. But then by the end of the book, he becomes like a bigger player. Like you learn more about him and his relationship with his mum. And he's a really good character. I do think Stanley Uris sort of slipped into the background, but that's sort of understandable. Like if you know what happens in the rest of the story, so if you know how the book starts, like
I mean, he's just generally really scared.
So I watched a review. It was What Culture review in this film. And then,
whoa! Oh, Jesus Christ! Pennywise in the form of a cat.
Yeah. And the guy was saying like they just needed they should have got rid of Stan Uris, and Stan is there to. I was going to get you. Sorry, my cat's got his arse in my face.
You seem fine with it for at least 5 seconds there.
Well, and then the smell caught up with me. Okay, so Stan is there to be he's a logician. He can't accept that things aren't a dream or like this is actually happening. And the start of the next film, we're going to guess is going to be with him committing suicide, which is how the book starts. Like
spoilers for the book as well.
Yeah, but it's like the first. I think it's like after the Georgie scene. This is the next scene. Stanley kills himself. But like that's such a big part of the book that I think maybe it's lost a bit here. And Stan does feel a little bit superfluous because of that. Yeah, but he's important.
So does Mike as well, I think.
That's a shame as well because Mike's a big character as well. Like, and he has a big history. Like,
no, exactly, especially in the latter part. Mike, and also the other bullies as well. I mean, I know they're not a huge part of it, but everyone else other than Henry, kind of just.
Hey, you know, because we watched Stand By Me very recently. Well, I was just picturing Kiefer Sutherland, like throughout the entire thing.
Yeah,
because he just looked like him.
Oh no, exactly. I mean, it feels like similar. I just kept thinking. I mean, I hate the fact that there's a killer clown, or there's a being going around scaring the shit out of people and killing kids and stuff. Yeah. That's horrible. But doesn't it look fun in Derry in the summertime?
Yeah,
it looks so fun riding around on your bike, just loving life.
Yeah, there's the bit where Henry. Like Henry is terrifying in the book as well when he especially when he gets Ben and he carves the H into Ben's stomach. Like in the book, I found that really difficult to read because it's just so like gross and disgusting and sort of. We've all been in that sort of situation before when you're sort of surrounded by arseholes. But I think it's really good. Some of the other bullies, they have bigger roles in the book, obviously, especially Patrick, the guy who gets killed first. Yeah. But I won't go into that too much because
in this film they sort of portrayed one of the bullies. And what's the bigger guy? What's his name?
Belch.
They portrayed him as just he had different metal t-shirts on. He had an Anthrax t-shirt on, then a Metallica t-shirt. It's like basically if you like metal, you're a big old bully.
Do you think? I do think there's a lot of fan service in this film. So there's so many little things like. That I enjoyed, and I'm guessing, and people who read the book probably enjoyed to see. So they want to see Patrick Hockstetter. They want to see Belch and Victor Chris and all these people, but they're not really that necessary for people coming to it fresh.
It's a lot to fit into a 2-hour film as well, especially when you've got an ensemble cast of main characters of like 7 people. Yeah, do you know what I mean? That's difficult.
I was the only thing I was really worried about Richie because his character is so over the top in the book. But I do think they nailed it quite perfectly. Yeah,
I think Bill did enough. The actor playing him, he was fairly good, I guess.
Beverly, what do you think to Beverly?
Oh yeah, Beverly was great. She was awesome. Really felt like her home life stuff was all pretty terrifying. Yeah. So should we just pretty much dive into the plot?
Yeah. Okay, so it starts. They moved it to the 80s. And it starts with Georgie Denborough, Bill's little brother. It's pissing it down outside. Get off, Oscar. It's pissing it down outside, and Bill's ill. Bill makes like a little boat for Georgie. We all know this scene. So Georgie goes outside in his yellow coat. The boat sort of flies down through the guttering, and then goes into the storm drain. And we meet Pennywise. So we meet Pennywise within the first
Yeah. Yeah, well, which is good. We get like a little
minutes.
spooky scene initially with Georgie going down into the basement to get the wax
Yeah.
to make the paper boat, which was, a little bit creepy and a little bit of a foreshadowing of something that was going to come
Yeah.
later. How did you feel about it being set in the 80s now? It kind of just made sense, didn't it?
Yeah, it made sense. I think maybe in the 70s, was it the 80s or 70s this book came out? I think there was a nostalgia for the 50s, and nowadays we have this nostalgia for 80s stuff. So I think it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, because obviously if there's going to be a chapter 2, which we assume there is, they'll just be able to set it in present day. That just makes sense.
Yeah. So
makes a lot of sense.
So we're introduced to Pennywise. What did you think to old Skarsgård as Pennywise the dancing clown?
The oddest thing about Pennywise was the fact that his eyes were slightly going off in different directions.
Is that?
Did you notice that?
I did notice that. Did they do something like CGI to his eyes to like make them lighter than the rest of him? Because I know that
I'm assuming so. They did a hell of a lot of stuff. Obviously, he had a big old was he
wearing makeup?
He was wearing makeup or something. Or his head was big. He had like a big old baby's. That was actually a cat's anus there. There was like a big old baby's head. He had a lovely bit of ginge on his head.
Yeah.
Ginger fluff head. Eyes, and he had sort of like Bugs Bunny teeth, big buck teeth.
And he was always dribbling on his lip.
Well, he's kind of just like letting water fall out of his mouth, isn't he? Just like that's the thing. He's just constantly dribbling, but he's never like licking his lips or anything. He was pretty freaky. When he first started speaking, I was a bit like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Me too. Yeah, me too. But then it grew on me towards the end.
Yeah, he just he doesn't do too much.
Yeah. Does
he? He doesn't overcook it. He doesn't. It's not a massive big caricature, and there's not like loads of quotable lines that he says. Yeah. He kind of just does his thing.
Yeah, and then Georgie goes to get the boat off him. He grabs Georgie's arm, and then he's like,
well, he opens his mouth and like a whole array of like razor teeth come out. Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect that. I can't remember what happened in the miniseries with when he changed. I know his teeth, Pennywise's teeth, kind of went sharp, but all these teeth that come out, his head kind of like sort of starts widening and splitting, and his eyes sort of go white, don't they?
Yeah. So his head like splits in half, and he's got like a pit of sarlacc sort of thing happening in his mouth. I
thought that was great. That was great, though. I thought I didn't expect it, so it kind of made me feel like, oh Jesus Christ!
Someone I saw called it like the most deadly fleshlight, or something like that. Like that you just wouldn't want to. Not the one you want. Not the fleshlight you want to play with.
No.
But then so he rips George's arm off, and I found that weirdly unexpectedly gruesome. Like I knew it was coming, but I didn't think we'd see it quite like that.
Yeah.
And then that was super creepy. I've just remembered now the visual of Georgie like crawling across the water to get away. And Georgie, whoever's playing this kid, is super cute, like and incredibly sweet. And I'm not like a kid person, but he was like I was feeling for him. And then so was Pennywise, as he sort of like stretches out from the grate.
Oh, I kind of wanted more of that.
Yeah,
it felt like a very quick shot of the arm coming out.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted something. You know what I mean? I wanted the arm to really come out.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been super creepy.
Yeah.
And obviously, poor old Georgie gets dragged in. In the book, does Georgie not just get his arm ripped off and then dies?
It dies. Yeah. I don't think his body disappears or anything like that.
No, because that was obviously a weird sort of. Because in the book, Georgie dies and everyone mourns him, but in this, it was sort of like they hadn't found his body. So it didn't really make too much sense to me. Like, I mean, he's just a missing kid, surely, if that's the case. But they talk about him as if he's dead.
As if he's definitely dead. Yeah.
That
is interesting. Unless because all the other kids have gone missing, and none of them have been found. Maybe some of those have been confirmed to be dead. I don't know. Did he ever confirm a kid dead unless they don't find a body? I don't know. I don't understand
I guess if you never find a body, not officially, you can completely assume a child would be dead, or anyone would be dead if they were missing for so long. But at the same time, we get 8 months later, which is when Bill and we're introduced to everybody sort of one by one.
And it's all very 80s high school film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was watching. Somewhere around the time of the Breakfast Club, you've got all the kids being bullied in some way or another, but they seem to be having fun with each other. You've got Ben, he's got this weird little crush on Bev. Bev's getting called a slut. There's some rumours happening around her. So we introduced all these characters so well, and there's so many little things in the film that aren't big things but are big in the books. There's Silver, Bill's bike.
Again, that's another thing. Little things, again, fan service, showing the bike, showing a nice close up of the bike. That's it. That's all. That's all that's needed. We don't need to talk about Silver, because obviously Silver does play a big part in the book, with sort of like saving Eddie when he's having an asthma attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't need all of that really. We just see that he's got a cool bike. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Oscar's trying to. Then he's trying to destroy the laptop. He keeps trying to like walk on it. Okay. So then we're introduced to all those guys. We get the poem, which I didn't think they were going to put into the film.
Yeah, exactly. It was word for word as well, was it not?
Yeah. It's a really great little haiku. And then we get Mike Hanlon. He's sort of delivering some meat for his granddad. Apparently his parents are dead in this. Again, I think they've taken some liberties with Mike's character. I don't think they necessarily needed to do. So Mike is delivering some meat, and he goes to like the service hatch or whatever you call it, and then there's like the burning hands coming out, which is a reference to the black spot in the books.
Yeah. So and then obviously eventually the door opens and he sees Pennywise for the first time, sort of behind some plastic sheeting, with some glowing yellow eyes. Does he wave? I think he may wave.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean that was pretty creepy. I like seeing it. Was a good visual of big glowing eyes.
The hands coming out of the side as well, like the scorched hands. I thought that was really cool.
I
think this film, the visuals were really spot
on. So then obviously. Henry tries to run over Mike, and it kind of snaps him out of his trance, seeing big bad Pennywise just chilling in the butcher's.
Yeah. So this is the thing. So Mike, Mike and Henry. So there's a big sort of history in the book with Mike's family and Henry's dad, and there's a bit like a rivalry, like a racist rivalry, like racial tension that isn't. They've kind of skimmed over it in this a little bit. So I don't know how I felt about that, especially
we kind of already see in this film, that Henry is definitely a bastard. Obviously, when he's sort of beating up Mike, he does sort of say, "I told you to get out my town," or something.
Yeah.
So you kind of understand sort of racial tensions there. I don't think you need to go into it too much more, because I think it might complicate matters a little bit, especially for Henry, because we can see as a bully, we don't necessarily need too much more other than his home life, I guess.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I think you run the risk sometimes with these characters of maybe introducing too much. We need a couple of things. We need a couple of bits of tension from somewhere else to sort of explain their fears.
Yeah.
But if we try and introduce too many ideas, there's 7 of them. It's just, again, I'll say it. It's a 2-hour film. 7 of them, from all to have backstory and all these different things, is tough. Yeah. Which is why a few of them suffered.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I would definitely say I would recommend people read the book if they enjoyed the film. Definitely read the book, because there is more there. But I can completely understand why they've had to skim over a little bit some of these sort of character details.
But I feel like enough was the right stuff was included.
Yeah.
The right stuff was skipped out.
Yeah.
There might be a couple more things I would have liked to have seen, but I think the right stuff was kept.
Yeah.
For me, and the right stuff was skipped out, because obviously there's some stuff, especially to do with the ending as well, which I think putting out in this film would have felt completely out there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so and the next, the hauntings just keep on coming. Like I'm sure these hauntings don't start till like page 400 in the book or something, but now we've got like Ben's in the library, and he gets haunted by another part of Derry's past, which is like these kids that all got like blew up in this Easter egg hunt. So he's in the library, he goes downstairs, he sees a balloon sort of hovering past, and then this sort of headless kid starts chasing him, and it turns into Pennywise. So it's just constant.
Yeah.
Like the horror, the haunting in this film, it's like being on like a thrill ride, like a roller coaster. It's constantly like up and down. Yeah,
because then we pretty much get Stan seeing Pennywise in the form of a painting. He sort of has to go into his dad's office to sort of start reading for his Jewish rite of passage. Is that right?
The Jewish Bible.
He starts reading from a bloody Jewish Bible.
Yeah.
And he's obviously scared of a painting, which is a horrible painting, to be fair. It's a horrible painting to have on the wall, which is like some woman with a flute.
Yeah.
and then he sees it come to life, and sort of it does pretty much.
Did you feel like
it.
that was a reference to like the Conjuring verse and those sort of films?
Maybe it did remind me of that a little bit, yeah.
Even that woman with the odd face even looked a little bit like the creature from Mama, which is the
which is the of course.
So I don't know, it seems a bit like that to me.
Maybe just included something that was like a little bit more his style, just to get in there.
So then Ben is leaving the library at some point for whatever reason, or leaving school. I mean, school's out, and then
school's out for.
Bill has a plan to take the kids, so just Richie and Eddie at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, and Stan, to the Barrens. They're going to go into the sewers to sort of try and find his kid brother, Georgie. At the same time, Ben is assaulted by Henry and his gang.
Yeah, I think they captured this pretty well, because in the book, this bit is like horrible.
Yeah.
This bit's like agony, where you're like, Jesus Christ, what's going to happen? You kind of like understand this. It's pretty violent. It's pretty over the top.
So this one, they carve the H into Ben's stomach, and Ben gets like that stomach.
It does.
Slashed all over the place in this film. And then Ben like kicks over the fence, like falls into the river, and then he's running away from them. He stumbles into the rest of the losers who have found a shoe or something.
Yeah, they find it's a shoe that belonged to Betty Ripsome, who's another girl who's been missing for a little while. Okay,
and then this is when like one of Henry's goons, Patrick Hockstetter, gets killed by Pennywise. I thought it was pretty gruesome. We get like a sort of zombies thing happening. I think they sort of bite bits of his face off or something. I'm not too sure. And then Pennywise catches up to him in the sewers. So Patrick Hockstetter's he's got like some crazy history. I've got some trivia about it, so I won't go into it. But like in the last part of the book, like he's an evil dude.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so what happens now? So where are we at?
So obviously they take Ben to the local pharmacy to try and sort out his H. There's pretty funny bits in this where Richie's sort of saying you got to suck the wound. you got to suck the wound.
Yeah.
And then Beverly sort of turns up as well, helps them get the stuff out of the pharmacy by distracting the guy, didn't she? And then Bill has a little conversation with Beverly, and we understand that he's got feelings for her as well. Everyone has, mate.
Yeah.
And then we get another haunting, another bit where Eddie sees the rotting leper that lives in the abandoned house on Neibolt Street, which is where it kind of like resides.
This is the one that freaked me out the most in the book and in the film. The rotting leper. It's just disgusting. And like
so obviously Eddie is like a super hypochondriac. Well, mainly because his mum is. So he's obviously got his meds that he has to take all the time. He's got like asthma, so he's got the little asthma.
Munchausen by proxy. Is that what it is?
What's that?
Munchausen by proxy. I think that's.
Does that mean you're just ill because you think you are? What's that mean?
I'm going to check it out because I'm sure that's the thing that comes to my brain.
Yeah, so obviously his biggest fear is, and he describes the leper later on as like a walking infection. So his biggest fear is being infected. So that's why he sees it in the form of this leper who is like oozing.
Yeah, gooey out of the eye. So Munchausen by proxy is when a caregiver makes up illnesses or injuries for the kid, for the person there. This is a form of child abuse.
Jesus.
Yes, Jesus Christ.
She also makes him wear a fanny pack, 2 fanny packs. Just say I've got another fanny pack. Yeah. Bum bag for the UK listeners. And he's got 2, and so she makes him wear that, which is also child abuse, I've heard.
Yeah, I thought because I didn't know they were going to make the adult version of the film when I watched this one. I didn't know they were going to do like chapter 1 and chapter 2. So I did kind of feel like all bets were off, and some of these guys might die.
Oh, yeah.
Because true. I thought like if they're not doing the adults one, then they could any of these people could die. They still could
have done that because it is just an adaptation. They could have killed off somebody.
Yeah, and I did think they might do.
They could have easily killed off Stan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be a good opening to the second chapter.
Yeah. And then obviously we get another haunting, which is Beverly So she obviously goes back to her house. We understand she's got a bit of a. At this point, we're not sure what kind of relationship with her dad she's got. She's obviously scared of him.
Yeah.
He's quite an imposing figure. Creepy.
Slimy.
Probably slimy. He's
yeah.
ever so slimy.
Yeah.
Probably hurting her or abusing her in some way. We think at this time, and then she goes and cuts her hair, gives herself a lovely haircut in the bathroom sink.
A Molly Ringwald cut, I think they say, which is a girl from 80s films.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and then around this point, I think Bill gets haunted by the Georgie in the basement.
When Beverly cuts her hair, this is when the hair kind of all comes out, right? Is at this point, isn't it?
It's not just here, but I'm pretty sure it's very, very soon.
Okay.
You mean all the blood sort of? Oh, and the hair.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing it go into the hair going into the sink, and I was like, oh, I wonder if it's going to happen now, and it didn't. So
okay.
I don't think it's just it, but yeah, it's pretty close.
This is the point. The hauntings are coming thick and fast, and this was maybe the only occasion in the film where I kind of felt it's too much.
Yeah, I think I can understand why all of them have got to see it to sort of believe it and sort of go along with it. I mean, when does Richie first see it? Is that when
he does? He doesn't, does he? He doesn't see it at all, because later on he says, "Is it only virgins who see this thing?"
Yeah. Did you see the Paul Bunyan statue? When they're like all the losers club are talking about it, and then Richie says his fear is clowns.
Yeah.
There's a big Paul Bunyan statue, which
is
it might not happen in the book for you here, but so that's what haunts. That's what tries to kill him in the book. The Paul Bunyan statue comes to life.
I don't think I've got as far as that.
Yeah, we don't have Paul Bunyan statue. Like in the book, it may sound like it's just a standard thing that everyone has. A Paul Bunyan statue. Yeah. Okay, so around this point we get to. I remember the chapter in the book. It's called the Apocalyptic Rock Fight, which is starts off with Mike getting chased by Henry and his goons. In the book, which I felt like this was missing a little bit. In the book, we find out that Henry killed Mike's dog. Like, he fed him poisonous meat, and
oh no!
And then Mike goes like ape shit, and he starts. I think he like punches Henry or something. Like, he like basically beats Henry up. It's like a proper like moment. And then all of his friends like start chasing Mike, and then he goes into the lake, into the barrens, and that's when the losers finally are all together, and we have the apocalyptic rock fight. And I do think they played into this a little bit in the film, the idea of the quartet when there's a certain energy when they're all together, because all of a sudden they were like badasses, like throwing these rocks.
Yeah,
and like even Bev was like knocking him around the face.
Yeah, because some good headshots as well going on.
Yeah.
Quartet. So obviously we understand that when they're together, they pretty much have got. They can do cool shit when they're together.
Yeah.
They can take down the forces of evil.
Yeah. I think it's soon after then that they do that little talk when they all.
Yeah, but obviously we do. There are two more hauntings, which is Beverly's hair sort of coming out, grabbing her from the sink, pulling her down, and then horrible blood erupting into the bathroom, and that's when her dad obviously can't see it, which is odd, just because he's a slimy bastard.
So another review I saw, they said they didn't understand the logic of the parents, and I don't think they quite understand that the idea is Derry. The parents don't see a lot of this stuff, like it just sort of goes over their heads, and they just don't understand it, and they're sort of affected by the evil as well. Yeah,
because we obviously understand that it feeds off of fear.
Yeah,
and then it kind of gets to a point where certain people when adults aren't really scared of those sort of things. Well, I'm sure they would be, which I kind of thought.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If a killer clown was coming for you,
but
I guess adults are more scared of like bills and
oh god. Yeah.
Oh no, another late notice. Oh god. Or like I don't know, car insurance going up. So yeah, it probably can't materialize itself as that. Oh yeah, obviously Bill does see Georgie in his house as well, running down into the basement. But this was pretty horrible when Pennywise sort of appears out of the water.
Yeah,
and does
he's like
weird
holding Georgie as if he's a puppet. Yeah, like he's talking for him. Yeah, it's super creepy.
Yeah, and then the way he sort of runs at Bill as well, which is kind of like comes out of the water and does a weird sort of...
Yeah. It's like
They'll-
when Alaska's got like one of those rope toys and she's running towards me. It's the same sort of thing. And I really liked the sort of the weird special effects with Pennywise when like it was like a motion stabilizing effect where centered around his head.
Yeah.
So whenever he moved his head, all the scenery around and behind him sort of
that was
moved
really
in a weird
effective.
way. Yeah,
I think we saw that briefly in the trailer, and I was a bit like, well, it's weird. But I think this time it kind of worked because when he went a bit nuts,
yeah,
everything else went a bit nuts around him, which was unnerving. It was a bit terrifying. So obviously the Losers Club will get together and sort of discuss that they've been sort of seeing the same entity.
Is this in the garage? This is the garage scene.
I think then they have. Do they? I think they have a little. Is this when they have I think they have a conversation first, don't they? When they're on sort of like a green, and Mike is kind of talking about what his dad, or I'm not sure his granddad or maybe his dad said.
Yeah.
That Derry's basically cursed.
Yeah.
And that Ben has sort of been looking into the history of Derry and all these bad things happening, and kind of works out that something happens every 27 years. So they think that Pennywise is coming out every 27 years to feed on the children before hibernating, I guess.
Yeah, and so it's around here. So they go to Bill's garage, and Mike pops his slides into the slide deck. And this is the bit of the trailer that like sold me on the film that it was going to be great. When the slides sort of took over on their own, and we started to see Pennywise's face emerge out of the thing. Then it took it another step further, and the lights all cut out, and it's suddenly like he was like a giant dog creature, sort of like barking at them all in the garage. That like shit me up, like sincerely shit me up.
Well, yeah, because initially it's a picture of Bill's mum, isn't it? And then as the slides are going through faster and faster, her hair sort of blowing in the wind, and then Pennywise's face appears. In the trailer, I wasn't sure what was going on. I was like, why has he got so much hair? I was a bit confused. But yeah, when he appears out of the...
jumps out of the thing. Yeah, he's massive. Like, it's unbelievable. That was, for me, that was the best scare of the film.
I didn't expect that at all. I mean, it just kept going and going and going, didn't it, as well?
Yeah. Okay, and then you get out of that, like... Cause I think we get the impression that Pennywise isn't really trying to kill them just yet. He's just trying to salt the meat, I think they say, and he's like trying to get them all riled up and scared, and it's working. Like I think they are getting very scared. And now they go, but Bill decides he's going to go get Georgie back anyway, so he goes to Nybalt Street, the house on Nybalt Street, which they realise that Pennywise kids go missing around there or something fairly regularly. And it's a creepy ass house. So
it's basically where all the sewers sort of like cross and lead to, isn't it? Okay, when they look at the map, the map of the sewers, they realise that everything leads to there. So pretty much that's going to be the hub. That's going to be where Pennywise resides.
So in goes into the house. We get Eddie, Richie, and Bill. They have a little walk around. This house reminds me of the house from The Wastelands, that Dark Tower book. Do you know what I mean? Like it's I'm sure it's the same sort of house. So I always want to see like the plaster man sort of crackle out the wall. But okay, so they're walking through this house. Then they sort of get split up. I think Eddie accidentally goes one way, the others go a different way. What happens to Eddie? So Eddie
falls through a hole in the floor, which kind of like appears. He falls through the coffee table. He gets powerbombed through a coffee table. And breaks his arm, which is obviously pretty gruesome. And then Richie gets locked into a room full of clowns, because obviously earlier he did say, when they were talking about what they're scared of and what it's materializing itself as, Richie did say he was scared of clowns. And there's a nice little there was a Tim Curry Pennywise doll in amongst all these clowns. Did you notice that? Yeah.
And then Pennywise, as he comes towards Richie, he says "beep beep Richie," which is a big saying in the book. Which is what the losers say to him to get him to shut up, because he's like constantly, he's just always sort of talking in the book.
Again, good fan service there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Also, I noticed Eddie was wearing a Christine t-shirt. He had like the Christine car on it. So there's lots of cool stuff like that.
Definitely. Yeah, I noticed that. Was there anything else like that? I'm sure there was.
I'm sure there was. I probably noticed it. I mean,
they all had pretty interesting t-shirts on, which I kind of thought must be Easter eggs.
Yeah. I think there's a few YouTube videos out there when they've like put all the Easter eggs up there.
I think I've seen some stuff like
that. So then. So whilst Eddie sort of conks out downstairs, Bill and Richie decide to try and get out. And like I said, I thought all bets were off at this point, because I thought Richie might die or Eddie might die. It just seemed very much like something bad was going to happen. Like, and I know that the characters don't, but even this film was really good at making me feel the danger of the scene.
Danger, danger! Yeah, it was pretty terrifying.
And then they got the three doors.
Yeah. This was awesome. Yeah. So one door which said
scary, not very scary, like just scary or something.
Not scary at all. And they go through that one.
Yeah.
And,
I think it's like half of Betty Ripson's just hanging there or something, talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah, that was gruesome.
There's a weird sense of humour to all of the hauntings that I thought were really good. It's like a Freddy. Yeah. Did it not remind you of Freddy Krueger in some ways?
Definitely, yeah. But I think that's the thing. They kind of gave the hauntings a personality, and then Pennywise sort of ran with it. So you kind of felt it was Pennywise's personality coming across in these hauntings, that he was toying with them.
What is that kind of that like dark comedy horror thing? Like I'm thinking like when Freddy Krueger like tries to French kiss Nancy through the phone.
Oh yeah.
Like, is that sort of like playing with the I don't know. There is a certain horror that I don't think that's done very often or very well.
No, I know what you mean.
Playground horror or something. I don't know.
Pennywise comes out of a fridge as well. This
like
is pretty
a mannequin sort of spins out. He's
just like bent in every which way.
Yeah.
And then so obviously this was quite good. He sort of approaches Eddie, whose arm's broken, and sort of like just starts toying with him, teasing him. Yeah. Eddie's like slapping his head, obviously, because he's
what happens?
Eddie's sort of like slapping his head.
His own head.
No, Pennywise is kind of right in his face, going sort of like, oh, and Eddie's like, and starts hitting him on the head.
I don't remember that.
I quite like that. Yeah. And then obviously the rest of the Losers Club arrived. Beverly sticks like a crowbar or something, or
fence, like a fence.
Oh yeah, that's it, a fence spike through. But that was pretty dodgy, because as soon as it goes in his head is all like deformed, and all the teeth are like coming out, and his eyes are going off different directions.
Yeah,
it was pretty messed up.
Ben gets it in the stomach again.
Yeah, it does.
Thingy whips his head around, and the metal thing goes into Ben's stomach. Doesn't seem to mind that much this time.
Yeah. He's like, bloody hell, I've been through it already, mate.
It's not my first rodeo, dude. And then, so what happens now? So they run away. This is like the Dark Knight of the Soul moment, right? So they decide that they're not going to do this again. And Bill's like, we've got to.
Yeah, and they kind of all split up after this, because Eddie, sort of his mum, turns up and she sees his broken arm, and she kind of blames the rest of the Losers Club.
Yeah.
Some of the other guys are sort of saying, too scared to do this, we can't do this. Beverly kind of tries to pep everybody up, tries to give everybody like when we're together we can do it, or something like that, but nobody's having it, mate.
And then I guess, so where around it, what happens now? So
I think there was like a montage now that we kind of look. It's kind of seemed like everyone was getting on with their lives and doing stuff. Obviously, Stanley does his Jewish thing, and a few other things, and then we kind of like catch up with Beverly, who's sort of trying to leave her house, and then this is when it all comes to a head with her proper slimy bastard of a dad.
Yeah. So bastard dad, he's got such a creepy lizard face. He is like a David Icke's ideal like lizard man. It's like,
he's a perfect lizard man.
I'm sure he should have a forked tongue. Like, you don't see it, but it's definitely forked. So he tries to get a bit handsy. I think with Beverly, chases him into the bathroom. She wallops him over the head. Oh yeah, this is okay. So this was one thing I wasn't particularly too keen on in this film adaptation, is that Beverly becomes a damsel in distress, because Pennywise turns up and like kidnaps her, right? Yeah.
So obviously she kills her dad, I'm assuming, doesn't she? Does she kill him? She breaks. Well, he's on the floor and he's got blood coming out of his head, which is never a good sign.
Yeah.
But yeah, she basically just gets abducted, which is odd, because Pennywise, is he one for abducting?
I don't think he is. That's the thing. Like,
I don't think he is. No.
Like, he didn't abduct Georgie or anyone. He like kills them. And
he is an ancient trans-dimensional evil being. I think he just when he takes his opportunity, he just kills. He either scares people or kills people.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be one for kidnapping. That was a bit odd.
Oh, I can understand why they did it, to try and give a bit of impetus for the gang to come back together to try and save her. But again, I don't know if I like the fact that they felt like they had to do that. Like, maybe they should have used Stan or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they could have easily used Stan. But that's the thing. No one kind of assumed that she was dead. They kind of just assumed they had to go and save her.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make sense because Bill obviously turns up at Beverly's house, and you die if you try, sort of written in blood on the ceiling.
Yeah.
You kind of think
it's a bit odd. Yeah.
You would assume she's dead, not been abducted.
Yeah.
But obviously, yeah. So the losers all get back together, and then we sort of see Henry Bowers, the bully, get given
back the knife. Yeah.
He obviously gets given a knife, and then we obviously see his dad is a bit of a bastard. His dad bullies him. So obviously that's where he obviously passes it down. That's why the Losers Club get bullied, because he's getting bullied as well, which is probably the case for most little pricks.
It's always the parents' faults. Yeah. So then Henry kills his dad with a knife. Although he's kind of being Pennywised up a bit, like
So there's obviously when he goes in to see his dad. There's a bit on the TV where Pennywise is there's like a group of school kids all sort of chanting something.
Yeah.
And we see Pennywise take the form of a teacher.
Kill your dad. Kill your dad. Grab a
stab him in the neck. Grab a power
with the lads.
And he's like, yeah, it's a good idea, that is.
Oink, oink. Yeah, so he chops his dad up. Well, he doesn't. He just pokes the whatever that vein is there. Pops open.
Pokes him playfully in the neck until he's dead.
At the same time, as Eddie's trying to leave his mum's, he realizes that all of his tablets and medicines are sort of placebos, and he throws them to his ground and tells his mum that they're gazebos. Which, I don't know why that's just so funny. Like, just a really funny moment in the film.
Yeah.
And then they all go back to the Nabolt Street house. They're going to go in there. To all of them. So Mike's got the cow bolt gun thing.
Yeah, to
put sheep asleep.
Everyone's got their weapons. They got the spikes. So there's basically a well in the basement of the Nabolt Street house, which they're all going to sort of go into, finding Pennywise's lair, where obviously he's keeping Beverly. Yeah.
So they go down into the well, and then Mike is the last one to go down, but he's attacked by Henry. This doesn't happen in the book like this, but it does happen in the book.
Yeah.
And Mike pretty much, I don't want to spoil that actually, because that's, especially you're going to read the rest of the book. But Henry doesn't die in the book at this point. So
no, I'm assuming he doesn't die in the film either, because
he falls down a very long way.
He does, but there's water
at the bottom. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
There's got to be water at the bottom, because surely Henry's got a bigger part to play in the
sequel. Yeah, I would have thought so.
The sequel. Yeah. So that obviously happens, and then they all sort of go down into the well and into the sewers.
Stanley goes missing, and then I thought he was dead. I kept thinking the kids are dead.
Yeah. Well, he sees the painting again, the painting that came to life, and then it starts it's proper eating his face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looks like he's dead. Gonna rip his face off or something. It looks really bad.
But then the rest of the Losers Club intervene, and he's just fine. He's just got a bit of blood on him.
God, blood on help.
Got a bit of blood on my head. And then we do see Pennywise with Beverly, and he sort of
plaster and head. Yeah, but it looks like he's half swallowed his head. And then it's just a bit of a plaster there. Look, please. And okay, and then they sort of go into Pennywise's lair. Pennywise's lair is quite cool, actually.
So obviously before this, though, we do see Pennywise with Beverly, and he kind of reveals his true form to her.
The Deadlights,
which was the Deadlights, which they did a lot better than was in the miniseries.
I haven't seen it, so I couldn't say. But
right. Basically, in the miniseries, its true form is like a giant spider, essentially.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're going to do that in the second part, because
I felt like they kind of hinted at it with this one.
He had spider legs, didn't they, come out of somewhere?
Yeah. So he sort of reveals himself. His mouth sort of opens into the big Sarlacc pit, which is spinning round, and Beverly sees sort of the three deadlights.
Yeah.
And then sort of her eyes go all milky, and she goes into a trance, and then she floats.
Yeah. So the whole thing about your float too and stuff. I don't think it really means much of anything in the book, but in this, they're literally floating around. Yeah,
I thought in the book it kind of meant you'll float, as in you'll die and you'll just end up in the water floating face down or something.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yes,
but they've taken it very literally in this adaptation, where everyone who's sort of been kidnapped or killed, well, I'll say floats. Kidnapped, they're all dead.
They're all dead apart from Beth.
They're all dead. There's sort of like, so in the middle of Pennywise's lair, there's a huge, massive skyscraper made up of all the kids who've gone missing's belongings and all of their bodies floating around as well, which obviously looks like it's just stuff from hundreds and hundreds of years.
Visually, it's very cool. I do wonder. So this is one of my problems with how they've split the film out in like in the TV series. Did it jump back and forth between the kids and the adults a lot? Like 'cause in the book, it's like constantly like jumping back and forth. And as it winds down towards the ending, it goes like even quicker. So you won't even they'll marry up to the point where sometimes you don't even know if you're reading the past or the present now. Like 'cause they're so similar. That's why. So in this film, I'm not too sure how it's going to work unless they significantly change the ending of the adult story, because they're so sort of similar. In the book, the adult story just goes on a little bit further, and they go into what they call the macroverse, and they kill him there. But
yeah,
they're just going to have to go to the same place, and they have to do the same thing again.
Yeah, that's what you can't. Yeah, I think they obviously left that stuff out with the macroverse and the turtle and stuff, just because it was probably a bit bonkers. Mad. It's a bit bonkers and mad for like general audiences are just going to be thinking, "What the hell? This film's on acid, man."
I only came for the new Conjuring film, and there's bloody turtles vomiting up universes.
I only came to see a killer clown, and there's lots.
Yeah. American Horror Story's back on, by the way. I don't know if you watched that. That's got their killer clown back in it. Oh,
right. I've never seen a damn minute of that.
It's alright. First season's good. Okay, so they go in. This is a heartbreaking scene where Bill finds George in that place, and he starts talking to him, and then George is like, I don't know, it's just really sad. I don't really cry in films, but this really had me on like the edge of. Like, it's because
Georgie was so cute, and he was just saying that he wanted to come home and he wanted to see everybody. Yeah. And I thought Bill was kind of falling for it initially, because obviously we understand that. This is another confusing bit where I was like, for a second, I was like, have they found him alive? I was confused for a second, but he's missing his arm, so I thought, well, that'll probably do him in.
Dead. Yeah,
he should be dead.
It's been 8 months, like 9 months or something. He's just been living here. Yeah.
So Bill, he kind of accepts it, doesn't he, at the end?
Yeah. And then he gets the Mike's bolt cutter thing, pops him in the cap, pops a cap in his head. This was another bit where, like, seeing a kid get shot in the head. It was pretty gruesome, yeah.
Pretty gruesome. We didn't really see that in films either.
That actor who played George got his arm ripped off, gets shot in the head. He's mentally messed up now.
He was great, that kid, because he was probably 5 years old. But when he was like when he was being evil and terrifying, he was good.
Yeah.
When he's being cute and innocent, he was good as well.
Yeah. So we're wrapping up now. At this point, Pennywise isn't particularly scary, and I think that's we're feeling what the kids are feeling. Like he's almost like desperate, and like he's become like kind of ludicrous to them now, and they start to win. I think they pretend that the thing he has bullets in it, and they shoot him in the head, even though it doesn't. And I think it's like the kid's belief that it hurts him. So then they start beating the crap out of him. With baseball bats and bits of metal and whatever. Yeah. And they kick him into the sewer or something. I quite like his blood. His blood floats upwards as well. I thought that was quite interesting.
That was great. That was another sort of weird sort of decision they sort of made. He was so otherworldly and strange that, when his blood was kind of like floating upwards, sometimes it was his head was flaking away like dried paint.
Another thing I didn't appreciate was the Sleeping Beauty moment where when Bev was like knocked out, Ben just kissed her, and then she wakes up and goes, "January Embers." Like I don't know, it was a little bit cheesy.
It kind of felt like it was a bit cheesy, and it was a bit like a moment which kind of solidified that Ben and Beverly are going to get together.
Yeah,
but then it was kind of just forgotten about afterwards. It was almost like, oh, he's done it.
Yeah.
He wrote the poem. She loves him, but no, it didn't. They kind of kept it as Bill was the main love interest. It didn't really need to be any sort of that, I don't think.
Well, so again, I know I keep coming back to the book, but that's just because I really like the book. So in the book, there's a love triangle. Bev likes Bill. Bill is just so like he's not really that way inclined. He's just
girls, yuck.
Like he's just he's got his heart set on finding his brother. Like that's all he is. He's like he takes his heroic sort of mode. And Ben loves Bev. And there's this weird like thing happening there. Nothing ever happens apart from like at the end when they all start. In the book, they all start having sex. They have like a weird sex orgy. You've probably heard of that now.
Yeah, I've heard of that. So so she has sex with all of them to kind of restore unity to the Losers Club, didn't she?
They definitely didn't need to do it. Even in the book, it doesn't need that. Or that blood pact thing they did was all it needed. They didn't need to be having.
Even that, I was a bit like, oh, do you have to? Can't you just agree? Have you heard of AIDS? Eddie was going on about it earlier in the film.
Yeah, this is weird. I don't think Eddie would do it. Like,
no, unless we're supposed to think he's past that now. His arc is over. His arc is finished, where he's he doesn't care about getting hurt or anything like that.
So then they leave, and they're all sort of stood outside the Barons. They've defeated Pennywise, and then they decide to come back in 27 years if he's still there. And then it reminded me of Stand By Me again. You know, they leave one by one.
And they kind of fade away.
Yeah. Like this film hits so many like Stephen King tropes from previous films, and but I really like it's kind of lovely. Like there's something really sweet about it. That's just kind of nostalgic and heartwarming, and
it's got heart. Like it does feel like an adventure film.
Yeah,
an adventure film with heart that just so happens to have a terrifying killer clown and loads of other terrifying. This is the
kind of film I would watch over and over as a kid. I would definitely watch the shit out of this. Just watch it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, exactly. The rewatch. I mean, I already kind of want to go and see it again.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
at the cinema. But yeah, at the end, we kind of like it says it, and then we see chapter 1. So chapter 2 confirmed. We kind of hear Pennywise laughing in the background as well, which kind of goes to prove that he is still alive. Well, of course he is.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting to see if there was any sort of Marvel style after credits scenes, but
to be fair, this cast is so good. They might as well just wait 27 years before they make the next film, and just use all the same people.
So I was like, at first I was like, really like, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how they're just going to just have the adult story now, because the adult story on its own doesn't really work for me. I feel like the adult story is the meta level of what happens in the kids' story, but I've heard now that the adult story will have it'll have a dialogue with the kids. So the kids will come back, they'll be in part 2, and it'll keep going back and forth between them still, which kind of makes more sense to me.
Oh,
I don't know how they're going to do it, Yeah,
how would they do it? Because obviously, revisiting stuff that's already happened in the first film, or revisiting stuff after Pennywise is gone?
I no idea. I have no idea how they're going to do it. But,
interesting.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical about the sequel. The first part of the kids' story doesn't need anything else. Like, it's a very well self-contained story. But the adult story isn't, I don't think.
No, I know what you mean.
But there we go. I'm gonna have to wait 4 years or whatever it's going to be till the next one.
I reckon they'll probably do it in 2.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. So yeah. So the reason they're filming straight away is because they want to get the kids whilst they still look young. They don't want to be hanging around.
Don't want them to turn around and one of them have a mustache and be like, "Oh bloody heck!"
Do you think they'll do all the macroverse stuff in the sequel?
I think they could probably introduce a couple of bits of it, because obviously now they've introduced the fact that Pennywise is the Deadlights, and we understand that there's a lot more to him than just being sort of like a scary thing, a scary clown dude.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll start to introduce a bit more of that to try and explore his origin and where he comes from, and officially how to kill him. Because I think if they just have the guys just beat the shit out of him again,
exactly, yeah, that's what kind of worries me. Like, just retreading the same ground, but as adults.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't know. It's good. Okay, so I've got some trivia. I did put it together very quickly whilst eating.
Don't make excuses, mate.
Scuffling pizza. So let's see where we go. So number 1, whenever Pennywise's eyes look in the 2 different directions, there are no special effects used for it. So it's all what's his name doing it? Skarsgård. Yeah,
it's got to be false.
Director Muschietti had planned on using CGI to achieve this and informed Skarsgård of this, but Skarsgård then demonstrated that he could do it on his own, and that's what he was used in the final film.
No way.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Chameleon eyes. Cat can do it. I can't do it. She does this thing with her eyes do that weird
that's horrible.
Independent thing. Yeah.
Do that for shit.
And she eats children. Okay.
But you love her anyway.
So the Duffer Brothers were originally set to direct this film. what did they do? They did Stranger Things instead.
Stranger Things, yeah.
Yeah.
Strange Things.
Strange Things, true or false?
That's true, I think.
Yeah, so they wanted to do it. It says here they were overlooked because they weren't established enough, which is fair enough. They needed to do. If they did Stranger Things and then applied for this, they would have been like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You haven't got enough. Yeah, you haven't got enough experience. Well, have a bloody Netflix series in your face. Oh no, we were wrong all along.
Yeah, I think as Stranger Things came out, I bet the people who were making it were a bit like, oh
bloody heck! Well, we've done the right thing.
Yeah, but like also because I feel like Stranger Things does. I was worried it was going to steal some of the steam, like because it's so like.
Steal the steam.
Is that what I'm saying? Steal some of the.
Steal the thunder. Steal its thunder, or take some of the steam out.
Steal the steam.
I'm confused,
yeah.
But I like it. It stole the steam right out of it under its feet.
But it didn't. It just seemed to ride. It seemed to ride at the steam.
It rode the steam all the way
to the top of the
out
kettle.
of the well. All the way to the top of the kettle.
Floating,
no, exactly, it did.
Floating at.
I think that's how it works. I mean, they were lucky, really, in more ways than one. Especially that they had Finn Wolfhard in both, which was interesting.
Yeah, he's got a fan base now. He's sorted.
The
guy who played Ricky Tozier in the TV series was it not Seth Green?
Was that not Eddie?
I want to say Richie. I've not seen the TV show.
We'll find out and probably not talk of it again.
Body count, number 3. The body count in the film. 6 people were killed on screen.
On screen?
It didn't say actually.
It's
just his body count.
Let's go for true. Why not?
It was actually 5.
Oh, why would you do that to me?
Well, all the other ones have been true so far. So, Georgie.
Georgie,
Henry,
Patrick,
potentially.
Henry,
Patrick,
potentially. Yeah. Henry's dad.
Yeah.
Someone else. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so number 4. In the book, I don't know if you got this bit. Belch Huggins has a fridge full of dead animals. Belch is one of the goons.
Ooh. Yeah, sounds like it could be true.
It's not. It's false.
This has been the worst trivia. This has been the worst I've done at trivia ever.
Oh, right.
What's he got a fridge of then? What's he got a fridge full of?
I don't know. He's got food, I guess. Patrick Hockstetter is the guy with the fridge full of dead animals.
Keep hitting me with these little curveballs that I just don't know what to do with. Oh, actually, it was this. Oh, God.
Number 5. Back when Fukunaga was running the show, he'd originally cast a certain Will Poulter as Pennywise the Clown. True or false?
Oh, I can see that.
Me too.
Had he actually cast him, or was he talking of casting him?
I don't know.
Yeah, say true.
Okay, yeah. So Cary Fukunaga, who did True Detective season 1, season 2, I don't know. He was set to direct it, and he did actually cast or wanted to cast Will Poulter as Pennywise the Clown. I can imagine that quite well. He's got a big mouth. He's
got a big old scary mouth.
Yeah. Will Poulter's doing very well recently. I remember seeing him in Son of Rambo, and instantly thinking, this kid, he's going to go far. He's going to go far.
Yeah. He's in Detroit, where apparently he's got a really special performance.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet though, so who's to say?
Okay, that's it. That's 5 questions. I don't know how well you did. It doesn't matter. It's not like a top 50 show. This is a special.
It matters to me.
Bonus episode.
Matters to me,
dude. I need to get your critical feedback. I need to feed it back to King and his crew. So between A and F, what we're saying. Andy Muschietti's waiting.
Andy Muschietti. For me, this exceeded my expectations more than anything I think I've seen this year. But there's loads of stuff I was hyped for this year. I wasn't too hyped for this until like 2 weeks before it came out. Then my hype was like obviously reading the book, not finished it yet, but obviously I'll get there. But I know enough about the story to know that I think it's pretty masterful in more ways than one. I mean, it's got great performances. The dialogue's perfect. I think they've left in a lot of the stuff I wanted to see. and they've stripped out the stuff that I think wouldn't have been needed.
Yeah.
A few little changes perhaps that you would have made, but all in all, it's probably the best adaptation of this we could have hoped for. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think it didn't feel like a proper cheesy. Even though it had jump scares, it didn't feel like a cookie cutter modern horror. It just felt like a great sort of adventure film with these horror elements, and neither of those things, the adventure and the horror, didn't take away from the other thing. So the adventure. With the adventure, you didn't think, "I'll get back to the horror." With the horror, you didn't think, "Get back to the adventure." It kind of like it balanced the whole film out. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think it had a great soundtrack as well. Cinematography was amazing. Some of the shots there.
I've been listening to the soundtrack as well.
Yeah, me too.
It was really good.
Can't remember the name of the composer, isn't it? Like Benjamin something.
Pennywise.
Pennywise. It's Mr. Pennywise. It is Benjamin Wallfish.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Oh, do you know what I'm gonna go? I'd go as far as to give it an A.
Nice. Okay. Do you think that you would say the same thing 5 years down the line? Do you think you'll look back at it and watch it again and go?
I know what you mean. Because I'm definitely one for getting swept up in the hype of things and loving stuff more than I want to. I might not say that, Luke. I might not say an A in 5 years' time.
Okay.
But now, don't tell me how to feel.
Okay. You feel how you feel, man.
I think an A because.
Okay.
I think an A.
I've got written down here B, but I don't know what. Why am I saying a B and not an A? I don't know. I think I absolutely loved the film. I had a ball watching it. Like I had a lot of fun watching it, but I don't know. I think maybe the fact that I read the book so soon before I saw the film has kind of tarnished it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not like I'm seeing the story like completely fresh. I'm still thinking about the book fairly regularly. So
yeah, but I mean, there's so much in the book.
Yeah,
it's got to be one of the most impossible things to adapt into a film because it's such a big book with going on, and it's got so many ideas, so many themes.
It's got like a literary
so many characters.
meta sort of element that is never going to translate to a film. Not a marketable film, anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's a 1,200-page book. Adapt this into a 200 film.
Yeah.
2-hour film. Into 200 films.
Yeah.
One. Yeah, that's insane.
No, so I give it a B for book, but I'd say this is a great. I see this as a great complementary element to the book. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh, like complementary.
Yeah. So it's like, would you like a film of your book, sir? Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to enjoy going back and finishing the book now with faces in my head.
It's cool. Also, you should read. You may not. So Insomnia also takes place in Derry. Mike is in Insomnia as well, and you get loads of little bits and bobs in that as well.
Yeah, there's loads of his books happen in Derry, don't they? Dreamcatcher happens in Derry.
Well, there's Castle Rock as well. I get confused between the two. Castle Rock's like another one he uses a lot, right?
Yeah, I think so. They're both in Maine, though, right?
I think everything he does is in Maine. I know Mr. Mercedes isn't. I don't think. But
what's that?
Mr. Mercedes is like it's cat and mouse detective.
Oh no! Sorry, I said where's it set?
Oh,
I have actually read Mr. Mercedes.
Oh, cool. I
didn't care for it too much.
The TV show's been pretty good. So where's that set? I think it's like in Ohio or something, like Columbus, Ohio, or something like that.
Yeah,
it's in a very real place though. I think that's the idea. Okay, so that's it. B for book, A for Ben.
A for amazing. Yeah, I loved it. You're making me think about my rating now, but
no, it's good.
I'm feeling it.
You tend to rate lower than I do, so you enjoy this, man.
Yeah.
I'll enjoy. I tell you what, I kind of preferred watching Stand By Me when we watched it, but that was the first time I'd ever seen that film, and I saw it on a big screen with you while you were sat at the other side of the cinema.
Yeah, that was my choice as well.
Yeah.
I've got to sit next to you, have I? Nah, you're right, mate.
Stand
you
by
rustle.
me.
You
Fuck
rustle
off.
too much.
Sit by me. It's called Stand By Me and fuck you. Yeah.
Fuck off, mate.
Yeah. Okay, so the next film we're going to be doing, we're getting back on the list. We're actually at the halfway point. The next film is The Omen. Oh man, we are cracking on through this.
Oh man, we're going to enjoy The Oh Man.
Yeah. The Omen. Okay, so this show is brought to you by Hawk and Cleaver. Head over to hawkandcleaver.com, become a patron at patreon.com/Hawk and Cleaver. Thanks to Kovacs Kalman for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. Hit subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. Thanks to my co-host Ben Errington for being a real hard dude.
Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, man. All right, bye.
Goodbye.